All right then, I'm Chris Davis, and I'm basically going through a few basic tutorials for people who have begun to practice handstands. And there's a few basic things I do recommend. First is stretching your wrists. The second is a static hold at the wall, and the third is practicing a regular entry, some sort of kick up to coming into the handstand. Now keep in mind, I know this video looks a little bit strange. I'm in a very cramped space, just a little portion of the wall. I have to use actually a wide angle lens to fit everything into the frame, just because of the way I have the setup here. Most people have cramped spaces to practice in, especially if you happen to see us during the quarantine, you got to stay at home. And I get that, but it's still possible to practice all this. This is about the static hold. So basically the static hold is just a still hold at the wall, and you just want to stay upside down for time. And the whole point of this is you get used to taking weight in your hands and holding that stretch from the hands through the length of the arm across the shoulders and the upper back, and you get used to pressing into the floor and bearing your own weight. This does take some time to build up, keep in mind. And especially if you're a little bit later in life, I didn't start practicing this until I was about 40 myself. So it took some time to really adjust. I was not used to being on my hands. And if you're just building upper body strength, it's going to take a little bit of time, but you have to be consistent about introducing that new stress for your body so that it can actually adapt. So just a little bit every day actually goes a long way. And even if it takes a few weeks or months to accumulate, you will notice a massive difference. Now to start from here, what you're getting used to just by taking weight in your hands is first, just the very basics would be holding a plank for time. Now you can keep this down low, but you want to press in your hands, keep the arms straight, dig your fingertips down, press your spine up, and stay lifted from the shoulders. So keep in mind, just because you're on your arms, this doesn't take care of it by itself. You don't want to be passive while you're actually keeping yourself lifted. You want to press away from the floor, and you really want to get used to pressing and holding that strength between the shoulder blades here. No bend in the elbows. Now, if you can take this a little bit further, keep in mind, you may or may not want to start walking up to the wall. And if you're a little bit afraid, let me just step out of the frame. I'm going to grab a chair. You want to find something that elevates your feet, though. So this isn't any special yoga prop or special inversion prop or anything. There's a chair. It's a little bit wacky. You just need something that gets your feet up off the floor a little bit so you can start to take more weight on your hands, because that angle is going to affect how much weight actually comes down to your hands and that you're supporting through the shoulders. Now, from here, there's a few ways to do this. And you can actually just take a basic plank. So bring your toes onto some elevated surface with your hands down, and this is already going to feel like a lot more than your basic plank, especially if you're really new to this kind of thing. And again, press into the floor, press your spine up, and see about holding this for about 10 seconds to maybe a minute at a time, okay? You want to hold that tension and really take that weight on your hands. Now, if you start to move things further from here, now this is plank, you can take things and get your hips in higher. So my toes are still on the chair. You can start to walk this in. This becomes more of a tuck shape. So you're trying to get your butt up in the air as much as you can to stack your hips over your shoulders. This doesn't have to be perfect. You got to go in stages, keep in mind. Keep your shoulders over your wrists and a little bit forward. And you don't want to pull back, keep in mind. You don't want to be at an angle. You want to be as close to vertical as you can through your arms as you take any of these holds. And just keep your gaze down. Hold on to this and keep gripping the floor. And you can walk the hands in even closer. You can come into a more formal tuck shape from there. But once you get to the point where your hips are pretty well over your shoulders, it's about time to come up to the wall. So I'm going to pull the chair away here for a moment. And then start to walk this up. Now, if you're not used to going up completely vertical and going up the wall, practice walking up and walking back down. So all you have to do from here is come down to the floor in all fours, press in your hands, one foot up, second foot up. And if you've never been this high before on your hands, go ahead and walk the feet back down and be sure you can come down without crashing down. You want to be sure you can actually come up and down and you have some sort of exit from the shape. To take it further, maybe bring the hands in closer. Walk your feet in. And you can hold this shape here. Now keep your shoulders over your wrists, keep your belly pulled in, press down, just look at the floor. And this is enough by itself, maybe even straighten your legs here. And you can always have bent knees, but you want to hold this shape, and the point initially is to bear weight in your hands and then move toward a more vertical shape. Now if you can take this in closer, then start to walk your hands in. Just take this as far as you're comfortable with. When your belly's facing the wall, this is a big deal. It's easy to freak out because you're going to be worried about falling on your back. But pressing your hands, press from the shoulders, so you're not just sagging down, keep in mind. Press the floor away so your ears move up toward your shoulders. And at any point, you should be able to look and see your feet, so you're not just hanging your belly toward the wall, keep in mind. And just look down at the floor. If you can take it even further, try to get the hands as close as you can. And when I'm taking a full vertical hold, probably the heel of my hand is about 6 inches from the wall or so, and you want to hollow this out so nothing touches the wall except some part of your head and your toes, and you can hold this for time as well. And again, you're not just sinking down to the arms, you're pressing the floor away and keeping that engagement here. And this is the hold that you want to take for some time. Now, there's a way to build up to this. Ultimately, To really hold a handstand and get into balancing in the middle of the room, you want to start getting to the point where you're moving between 30 and 60 seconds of actually holding at the wall close to vertical. It takes a while to build that up. So break it up into increments if you need to. Try to do at least a total of 1 minute or maybe even 2 minutes at the wall. And you can break this up just holding yourself toward vertical for 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 20 seconds at a time. Whatever adds up to 1 or 2 minutes, whatever you decide to take this to, but make it a minimum of 1 minute more days than not, at least 4 days a week. And you will notice how this really starts to build up over time, and it won't be anywhere near so stressful coming upside down. And again, you can start this out from plank if you need to build the basic strength. You can have a chair or something that elevates your feet, maybe a counter, maybe something a little bit higher, and then start walking up toward the wall as soon as you get a little bit braver with this and start bringing yourself in closer. And keep in mind, you want to press in the hands, grab the floor, lift up from the shoulders, so you're not just sinking down, and build up to that as best you can. It does take some time, keep in mind, but if you can come into this regularly, maybe before or after a workout or after your body's warmed up a little bit, just stretch your wrists, bring yourself toward the wall, and get ready to let your body actually adapt here. But you have to introduce that stress on a regular basis again. And I hope this helps. Thank you very much.